Hello and welcome to Bird's Nest Designs. My name is Denise Cox. I'm joining you from Trail, British Columbia, Canada, and I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. So excited to share with you today's card. So this card is featuring the Bottled Happiness bundle. So that's this fabulous stamp set and the coordinating vintage bottle punch. You can purchase them separately or save 10% and order them together in a bundle. And the other feature is the Orchid Oasis in color. So each month I have a in color club where we feature one of the colors and a bundle. And the members of my club get an amazing kit chocked full of all the in color products in that month's color and 3 make and take projects. So this is card number 3. The other 2 videos have already been posted to my YouTube channel. So go ahead and check them out. If you're interested in any clubs and classes that I'm hosting, head on over to createwithbirdsnest.ca. They'll be listed there, and if you sign up for my newsletter, you'll get updated as they come out in your inbox. So be sure to do that. Okay, so here's the card number 3 that we're going to create. I love this color scheme, and it's one that I pulled off of the little color chart that Stampin' Up! Does up, and it's not something I ever would have imagined to put together, but I like how it turned out. So we've got Old Olive, Orchid Oasis, and Mango Melody. Again, not colors I would have picked, but I'm loving how they come together. So I challenged myself to use one combination off of that color chart, and this is the one that I chose. So the card's going to come together pretty quick and easy. And I'll go through the steps with you, of course, and give you the measurements as I go. If I forget, please don't worry. Don't stress about writing them down because I'm going to put them in the description of the video for you too. So this card base is just a standard base. It's 8.5 by 5.5 and it's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So we're just going to give that a burnish here with my bone folder. And so I have used the thick basic white cardstock because it stands up a bit better for a base of a card. So that's my little tidbit there. Now, I've got a strip here of designer series paper in the Orchid Oasis floral pattern. And it's measures, I believe it's 2.5. Just give me one sec here. I've got my wrong. So it's 2 inches by, well, this is just still by 6 inches. And the reason I haven't cut it down to 5.5 is because I wanted to make sure that it was going to fit on my card. So if you're a member of my club and you have your kit in front of you, yours is probably already cut down to the 5.5. So this is just gonna go right on the card like so. And then we'll just turn it over and just trim off that excess piece. Okay, step 1's done. So what I want to do now is flip over and do some stamping, and then we'll go ahead and assemble the rest of the card. So if you've watched the 2 earlier videos for my club cards, you'll see that we've used the stamparatus. Now this tool is one that I don't use as much as I should because it is absolutely awesome. And because we've used it in the past 2 cards, it's already set up with the flowers and the leaves already lined up where they need to be. If you want to see how I did that and get more details, then head on over to the video where I featured this card and it shows you how I set it all up, got it lined up, and now it's good to go for as long as we're using this Bottled Happiness and we keep it in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp it onto this basic white cardstock piece, which measures 3 inches. No, it doesn't. Give me a second. It measures 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches. Okay. So what I'm going to do is put this stamp down, kind of here like so, where I want this to stamp. So I do want it to be more towards the left-hand side of my paper. So right about there looks perfect. So I'm going to open that back up, hold my finger in place, just make sure it's straight because I don't want it to be crooked. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick these magnets Make sure they're not in the way. Perfect. Okay, so the magnets are going to hold it in place. But as I mentioned in the other two videos, it doesn't hurt just to kind of give some line guides just in case it moves. Okay? And then we just get to stamp. So I'm going to stamp the flowers in Mango Melody. Pop that down. Give it some pressure. Make sure that ink is all transferring to the paper. Voila! Now, this is the magic of the stamparatus. So we've previously set up these leaves so that when we drop those leaves down, they're going to line up perfectly. Now this did shift just a slight little bit. That's probably too much. Okay. Trying to do it with the magnets is not very... It seems to be... There we go. Okay, now that we've done that, got that lined up, so now we're going to use our Old Olive. And we're going to just ink up the side of the leaves. Drop that down, and it should line up. Voila! Love it. This tool is so handy for making multiples or for these double two-step stamping. So if you don't have that tool, you may want to check it out. In Canada here it's $67, and it's available through my online store or in the catalog, of course. Okay, so we've got all of that stamped. Now we can go and put our card together. So I've got a coordinating piece of Mango Melody cardstock that measures 3 by 4 1/4. So it's just a 1/4 inch larger than our white stamped piece. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this. Okay. I love the coordination of Stampin' Up products, right? It's a perfect match. Okay, so then I've got a long piece of linen thread here. I love linen thread. And I'm going to wrap it around my card piece here. So to do that, I'm going to take this and make sure one end is over and secure that on the back. And then I'm going to remove that back piece of the tear tape and wrap it around. Now I do want to tie a bow, so I don't know. It looks like there might be enough to do 3. Yeah, so I wrapped it around 3 times. And then I'll just put another piece of tear tape to kind of hold it where I want it to stay. And we're going to trim that piece off. Okay, now you can see it's really fanned out here in the front, but we can just squish those together. Okay, before I tie my bow, I am going to attach this. So we'll just set that aside for later because there are a few flags that we need to create. So here I've got 3 strips of cardstock in our color scheme. So Orchid Oasis, Mango Melody, and Old Olive. The Orchid Oasis is 1 inch by 5 1/4. Mango Melody is 3/4 inch by 5. And the Old Olive is 1/2 inch by 4 3/4. So they got a 1/4 inch thinner each time and a 1/4 inch shorter. And then we're going to use our banners pick a punch, and we're going to just punch the ends of each of these. So we'll start with the Orchid Oasis. Flip it over, make sure it's lined up nicely. Pop that out. We'll do the same with our Mango Melody. And again with our Old Olive. So I love this punch for all the different sizes of banners that you can create. We'll start with our Orchid Oasis, and we'll just put a run of snail down there, and I'm going to line it up with the top of the card. Okay, and I don't like the way this is folding. My card is not quite right. So there's a trick. Just hold it where you want it. And then just sort of press from the fold forward and it'll make it line up better. Okay, so then we'll go with the Mango Melody. And I'm layering these up. I could have put this one over a little bit more, but it doesn't really matter. Just lining them up at the top. And then finally our Old Olive. Okay, so there's our base. Now we can go ahead and attach our floral stamped piece with Stamping Dimensionals, which I've got over here. Okay, so I've got a few. It's a fairly big piece and I don't like it when it sags. So I've got 6 dimensionals on here. And these little backings are staticky and they get stuck everywhere. Okay, get that one out from there. All right, so now we can go ahead. Now this is gonna fit from edge to edge on our card. So I'm just gonna make sure it's lined up nicely, like so, okay? Now, I've still got my linen thread for my bow, but we're not gonna get to that quite yet. I do wanna stamp and punch out a bottle. So I'm gonna use Orchid Oasis, which, where did it go? Here it is. Orchid Oasis ink. And we've got this nice tall bottle from the Bottled Happiness stamp set, which does coordinate beautifully with the vintage bottle punch. So I'm gonna stamp that just off to one side here, and I'll show you why in a sec. Love it. Such a nice crisp image. And then we're gonna take our bottle punch and pop that in. And I've used the piece a little short, so I was a little bit cheap with my paper here. So I'm just gonna stick a Post-it note to the top, okay? That gives me extra room to hold onto it, right? So now I have extended what I have to grab onto. Okay, so there's lined up, pop that out, oops. And then we can remove the Post-it note and it's good to use again later. And then I'm going to use a little bit of black ink for this one. Okay, and I want to create this little label on the bottle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our stamp right here, so sending cheer. I love that sentiment because you could use that for like everything, anything really, or just an even just because card. So I'm going to stamp that right here above the bottle. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm just gonna like kind of fussy cut this. Now, there is, I'm just gonna do it this way. I was gonna say there is another way we could do it, but it's just gonna be it's gonna complicate things. So what I'm gonna do is put a string of glue. Oops. Okay, there we go. Glues across our bottle. And then I'm going to make sure that this label is fitting across like so. Make sure the words are on the bottle. And then we just flip it over and trim it off. So that's a really easy way to do the label. And there you have it. So we're gonna bump this up here, and that is going to require a couple of dimensionals. Actually, I don't really want that one right at the bottom. I don't want it to sit on the linen thread because it's gonna make it look wonky. So we'll just do that. Okay, now it's time for our bow. So this one, I'm actually gonna tie it around the thread. If you didn't want to, of course, you could just do it and attach it with a glue dot, but we'll just do that. Nice and easy. I love linen thread. I've told you that already, but I love it. It's so versatile and it adds such a nice, like, neutral, rustic-y look to your cards. So there it is. There is our third card for my In Color Orchid Oasis class featuring the Bottled Happiness bundle. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed today's videos. Be sure to check out all 3 if you're loving the Bottled Happiness bundle. Any questions, please leave me a comment or message me. You can reach my online store, my clubs, and all of my information through createwithbirdsnest.ca. As I mentioned, the measurements and all the links to the products I've used today will be in today's video description. So check it out there and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you so much for stopping in and stamping with me. I hope to see you again real soon. Cheers.